Today we're going to look into the future, which is incredibly important when you're trying to make life-changing returns. If you can see the future, you can make life-changing returns. And the harder it is to see the future, the more of an opportunity there is because fewer people understand the potential investment, which means there's way more upside. Most people understand NVIDIA at this point. Most people understand Oracle at this point. Oracle is dominating. The fundamentals of Oracle are exciting Wall Street. Look at the price action of Oracle's stock. Literally skyrocketing. This was a $500 billion market cap asset. Now it's $830 billion. Massive amounts of capital rushing into Oracle. Oracle's cloud business set to grow 14x by 2030, UBS says. They did a partnership with OpenAI, Sam Altman's ChatGPT company. And so they're going to be providing the computing power for centralized artificial intelligence. So there's just massive demand moving for Oracle. What do they provide? Cloud compute, one of the most valuable resources on the planet. So in the face of it, it's just a phenomenal company, and its revenues and profits are expected to grow exponentially. But there are examples of when Wall Street got it wrong. There's nothing wrong with Oracle per se. It's going to provide a valuable resource. But what if it gets undercut by a competitor? If we can find a competitor to Oracle, then we make life-changing returns. Just like if we found a competitor to Blockbuster and invested in Netflix, you would have made life-changing returns. Just like if you found a competitor to bookstores and bought Amazon, you would have made life-changing returns. So is there a competitor to Oracle? That's what we're going to dive into in this video. Well, we've been talking about Bittensor. Bittensor's mission is to be a decentralized competitor to centralized artificial intelligence companies. It sounds crazy. It sounds impossible. It sounds totally unlikely. But we're going to dive into how realistic that is, and we're going to look at Subnet 51, Lium.io. Currently, it's the fourth highest market cap subnet in the Bittensor world. Bittensor is currently made up of 128 different subnets. All of them do different things. Celium is a decentralized GPU compute marketplace. What is Oracle? It provides cloud compute. What does Celium do? It provides cloud compute. So now we have two assets in the exact same field. So now we have to ask ourselves, which asset is going to win? Well, this is according to Grok. Bittensor Subnet 51 enables decentralized GPU rental via blockchain incentives, leveraging underutilized resources for potentially lower costs than centralized providers like Amazon Web Services or GCP or Oracle. Oracle is a centralized provider. They build massive data centers with nuclear power plants powering them, thousands and thousands of acres, big data centers. That's how big tech is doing it. Grok is saying decentralized compute could have lower costs, right? At the end of the day, it's a commodity. You're going to compete on cost. It's going to be an efficient market. If you're running an AI model, you're not going to pay more for compute. Cost factors. Centralized clouds charge fixed rates. Subnet 51 uses dynamic TAO pricing driven by supply demand, often 50 to 90% cheaper per similar DPIN networks. So it is significantly cheaper. If it's 50% cheaper than traditional cloud compute providers, you can do double the amount of AI. That's the principle of Bittensor. If you can provide cheap compute, inexpensive compute, you can provide better AI and you can compete with big tech. That's why we're seeing a lot of these subnets provide AI models that are superseding big tech in terms of growth, in terms of intelligence, in terms of scale. So this is the whole thesis of Bittensor, and Grok is saying decentralized compute is way cheaper and it makes sense. You don't have as much overhead. You don't have the real estate because the blockchain secures it all. So this is the revolution of blockchain infrastructure. Bitcoin, incredibly secure, can't be hacked. It's the blockchain, right? Blockchain provides digital scarcity and security. Massive. So the team at Celium says GPU rentals are up to 90% cheaper than traditional cloud providers. They agree with Grok. This is the truth. And again, that is a huge competitive advantage. It's the biggest competitive advantage. So what does this mean for the token? Again, we're trying to make life-changing returns on this show. We want assets that go up. So how does this all tie into the token? Well, let's talk about the tokenomics of this asset. Here's the leader of the subnet, trying to figure out a way to properly incentivize alpha token holders and make Subnet 51 business sustainable. There's a couple options. You can buy back the token with all revenue as soon as it's generated. The token price just goes up forever. Number two, they could create a corporation. Alpha tokens redeemable for shares. All profit is split among the subnet token holders and everyone gets paid. Three, keep everything on chain, do airdrops of profit split proportionally between token holders. I think number three is the worst option. I would do two, but probably won't because I despise legal processes. Number one is the way to go, in my opinion, for now. So their plan is to take the revenue generated from this network and buy back the token and burn it. There are only 21 million tokens per Bittensor subnet. It's a fixed supply. There's the exact same tokenomics as Bitcoin. They have halving schedules. Right now, we're in the inflationary phase before the first halving. So there's more tokens available. They are buying back and burning the tokens. That is the best possible tokenomic structure you can imagine. Imagine a hyper deflationary Bitcoin. That's what we're talking about. So what matters is revenue, because revenue is going to buy back and burn the token, making it scarcer and scarcer, almost infinitely scarce. So are they generating revenue? That's what matters. Well, you may have noticed all of our GPUs are still rented out. We have over 1,100 GPUs, mostly H100s and H200s. We need more, so there is demand. What about revenue? Celium revenue, dollars per hour. Per hour of usage, they're generating $700. Look at the uptrend. So we know there's massive demand for their compute. We know it's ridiculously inexpensive, up to 90% cheaper than big tech. And now we're seeing an uptrend in the amount of revenue the network is generating per hour. This means the amount of revenue that is going into buying back the token and burning it. This appears very sustainable. And this is how Celium is able to stay in the top 5 subnets. They're able to prop up their token, increase their market cap by buying back their token with sustainable revenues. That is exactly what you want to see. Here's Jake Steves, the lead creator of Bittensor, head of the Open Tensor Foundation. Lowering costs on decentralized compute lowers costs for decentralized technologies across the board. We've talked about this before, but less than $2 per H200 GPU per hour for the highest quality H200s on the market. And so Jake Steves launched his own subnet. Again, we've talked about this before, but it's super important to hammer home, especially in the context of Oracle's dominance. This is Jake Steves' subnet in the middle, subnet 120. What it's doing is coordinating all the output of other valuable subnets. We see Celium Subnet 51 right here. So he wants Subnet 120 to be the alignment layer to coordinate the valuable resources created by other Bittensor subnets to feed in a very inexpensive way compared to big tech, to feed applications like Ridges, which creates intelligent software. And obviously they're using Celium. So Celium is going to play a central role. There's massive demand. There's massive revenue. They're buying back and burning their token. Imagine if Oracle had a token, and with the revenues it was generating, which Wall Street seems to think is going to go up by many multiples by 2030. Imagine if they took all that revenue and bought back their token. That would be endless upward buying pressure. This is the model that crypto is introducing to the world. So we have a phenomenal business, massive demand, growing revenues, and increasing buying pressure of the token with the same tokenomics as Bitcoin. That's what we're talking about. So the way Celium works is it connects miners, which are the compute providers. They're mining the Celium token just like Bitcoin miners mine Bitcoin by providing compute. Same thing with Celium, but you have to provide powerful chips, powerful GPUs. Miners are the compute providers. Customers are anyone wanting to rent compute power. Obviously, we know who wants to rent compute power, the entire world. And they're all going to be competing on price. And again, this is cheaper than big tech. But the best part is, and why it's so inexpensive, is because anyone on the planet can rent or supply GPU power. No KYC, no gatekeepers. And again, anyone on the planet can spin up a machine in seconds. And they pay for the compute with crypto. So they're paying with crypto, they're paying with the token, utility of the token. Again, when you're an investor, you want to find assets with growth, with adoption, with demand, This is plenty of demand. You're paying with crypto. It's hard to get over how massive the tokenomics are. That's why I keep talking about it, but that's what excites me so much. And clearly it's working because, again, they're able to maintain a high market cap. The higher the market cap the Subnet has in the Bittensor ecosystem, the more TAO emissions it earns. So they're getting paid a lot of TAO for being in the top 10. Then they have new collateral requirements. This is really interesting. And the Subnet posted this to explain it. This is really interesting. Requiring fully collateralized machines was a hard but necessary step for us. We lost a lot of GPUs on the Subnet. We were left with the highest uptime and highest performance machines. Here's how it works. Miners need to supply collateral equal to the amount of a 7-day rental cost of their GPUs. For 8 H200s, this means $1.9 times 8 times 24 times 7, $2,600 worth of collateral per node. If we notice that SSH connection is no longer available, the renter's container has been tampered with, or the host is using the GPU, we slash 100% of the collateral. That is very, very interesting. So they're providing very high quality compute. The computer providers have to put up collateral in order to start earning. You can't just like fail the requirements and get paid. So they have this new collateral requirement that keeps the network secure and high quality. So that's a look at Celium. The best part is you can actually stake these assets, stake Subnet 51, and earn passive income. Remember, it's like Bitcoin. It's in the very early stages of its halving cycle. So it's kicking off tokens. If you stake this asset, you earn ridiculous passive income. And so if you want to learn more about how to make passive income, you can reach out to me on Patreon. We've been almost able to live off the passive income. It's been unreal. You earn it daily. You can unstake it anytime. So as far as crypto staking goes, it's one of the best setups imaginable. And it goes for all the subnets, but also for Celium. That's one of the best parts about Bittensor is the ridiculous passive income. So let's look at Celium. As an investor, you want to see what you're seeing. You want to see growth. You want to see revenue, you want to see adoption, you want to see good tokenomics, obviously. We've talked about some of Liam's use cases. AI, everything compute can provide. Compute is the most valuable resource on the planet. Big tech understands it. The world fully understands it. At the end of the day, AI is only as good as its compute. So the Bittensor network is highly incentivized to make sure that the best decentralized compute subnets succeed. That is what Liam is. Right? So massive use cases, AI, anything compute does. And a lot of the subnets are already starting to use Celium. So I could literally talk all day about this. But again, just want to give you an update on what is going on with Bittensor. We want to look into the future. Is decentralized compute going to be able to dethrone big tech? Well, it's a lot cheaper. So if you were building something, wouldn't you rather use cheaper compute that's high quality? That's what Celium is providing. Again, can't get over it. Massive. If you want to learn more about this asset, there's a link to their X page, https://liam_io in the video description. We're going to stay on top of what is going on with these early stage assets because we want those life-changing returns.